Ladies and gentlemen, a very special guest, a very old friend of mine, Brenden Carrillo. How you doing, brother?
Good, man. How you doing?
Excellent, bro. I'm happy to have you back in here for like the 10th time.
Third time's the charm, dude.
Oh, dude. Sometimes you can't control technology. That's the only thing we can't control.
That's what he and I were just saying.
Yeah. So you've came out and shot a show twice before.
I have, yeah.
The first one, the footage was lost. We had some technical difficulties behind the scenes. You were nice enough to come out a second time.
Yeah.
And that second time, it only recorded you for the hours of conversation we had. So we decided not to post that because it would just be you the whole time.
That would be weird.
This time, we got everything on lock.
Yeah,
It's
man.
all good. How do you like the new studio?
I like it a lot, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Super close to me, too, so that's
Oh yeah,
fucking
way
cool.
better. It used to be pretty far, honestly. People were upset about that drive. They're like, "It's where?" And I'm like, "Oh, dude, just please make it out there. If you can't, just let me know." But that comes with having a podcast like this. You know, I prefer I prefer to have someone sitting across from me. A lot of people are doing podcasts nowadays where they just kind of do it over webcams.
Yeah, a lot of it's virtual now, which I like that, but it's not as intriguing, in my opinion.
Yeah, this is different. Like, we're having a conversation.
Yeah.
It's not like a Zoom meeting, you know?
Exactly.
We're sitting across from each other. We're having drinks. By the way, cheers.
Cheers, man.
Sipping on that screwball. You like that?
I do, man.
It's good,
I've heard
right?
Andrew Santino talk about that a lot, but I never tried it myself, so that's pretty fucking good.
Yeah, so it's 80 proof, 40% alcohol. It's a peanut butter whiskey. If anybody hasn't had this, it's extremely delicious. It tastes like a protein shake, or if you said it was better. It's dangerous. It's just like any of those other fruity drinks that have a high alcohol percentage that taste good.
Yeah.
You know, you can easily, like, you and another person could finish a bottle in a night. And it's you're like, oh, what the heck? Why is this bottle empty? We drank so much. And I like it too because it honestly doesn't give me like a bad hangover if I drink a lot of it. So
it's actual like quality.
yeah, it's good. I like it a lot. The peanut butter whiskey that's my new favorite thing. I've always liked I think last time you were on here we had honey Jack Daniels.
I believe,
Yeah, and that one's good. That one's always a classic. But this one is sweet. It gets the job done. It's easy to go down, and it's easy when you wake up too. So it's perfect.
Yeah, man.
But you are an actor / aspiring director, and So
I would. Yeah, I don't know.
what would you call it?
I love acting. I love writing. I mean, whenever like I'm faced with like the reality one day of like what directing actually fucking is, I'm sure my thought process might change because from what I know, it's a lot of responsibility and it's probably shit I'm not gonna want to fucking do.
Yeah.
It's just like a lot. Well, for feature films, at least, it's like so much of your life is dedicated to that. And whereas if like you're writing for a movie or show, well, I mean, writing for a show is different, but writing for a film, you just write it and like you essentially sell your script. In acting, you're just kind of acting for X amount of time, and then you're just like another piece to the puzzle. So like you don't have as much responsibility. I don't know. I feel like directing is just like a lot. And like the more I think about like myself right now, I'm like, there's not a fucking shot I could do that.
Well, you were telling me that there's a lot more that goes into directing than you previously had thought.
Yeah, it seems that way at least. Like I don't have any firsthand experience, but from what I've seen, even people doing student films, which are most of the time not, at a very professional level. Like it's so time consuming, and that's what sucks. Because like if you're the director and you put in that much time, that much work, and it sucks, like I feel like that would just not be ideal, man. Like I just wouldn't want that much responsibility. And then, well, for like especially for people who are directors for like studio films, I feel like they have the say because they're it's their vision. They're the director.
Mm-hmm.
But if a studio is in charge of that, ultimately, it's still not your vision. Like you're just another piece to the project. So I don't know, man. I would like to dabble a little bit, like while I'm young and see what kind of films I can make, like just short films and stuff, like on my own with some people. But ideally, right now, the whole directing, like in terms of like a longer term goal, that sounds fucking exhausting. So
You were telling me directors have to dedicate like years of their life for the whole process of just one movie.
in terms of like Hollywood, yeah, like it's you know, because there's pre-production, production, and then post-production, and so like that involves the whole casting thing. There's casting directors, but like you're just overlooking the whole project from beginning to end, like until like the movie finally comes out, and then it's your film. So like there's just so many different ways that can go. Like, and that's only like in terms of like looking at the outcome. Like, I just wouldn't want to be responsible ultimately for like a bad film. Like if I acted in a film or a show and like people didn't respond to the film or show well, I'd be like, well, maybe there's something else coming around the corner. But like if you're a director and you get bad reviews, like that's ass. I feel like that probably fucking sucks, because like it's like a Quentin Tarantino film. Like it's like your own film. And so people are going to react to you like, oh, this guy doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And for the amount of work that's put into that, because they really do put in so much more fucking work. They have so much more responsibility than any other person, like on the set or like in production. So that would just not be ideal.
Well, if you ever need anybody to star in your short film, dude, I'll be happy to do it, dude. I'm a handsome young lad, and I can play any character, dude. I'm versatile as hell.
I've actually never wrote a short film. I have wrote full length, but I've never wrote a short film. I don't know. I feel like that's so much fucking harder to do. So honestly, I applaud like a lot of people who make like really good short films.
Why? Because you have to like kind of
You have to get such a
the
heavy
same
story.
Yeah,
Like
in the same effect as a full length film, but in
within
a short amount
X
of
amount
time.
of time, dude. So I applaud the fuck out of so many people who do that. That seems just, I don't know, dude. Like I haven't even had an idea that I found that can like make 10 minutes on a screen or 20 minutes on a screen. Like that just sounds absurd. It sounds like a fucking TV episode. Like it just doesn't like. So I definitely applaud the people who can do that. Like that's.
Yeah, like I gotta
pretty
introduce
absurd.
everything. I gotta have a plot, and I have to close everything up in 25 minutes.
And make it
Yeah.
to the point where everyone's like, fuck.
Yeah.
Which is like your ultimate goal.
That's hard.
So,
That sounds. Now that you mentioned that, it sounds difficult to do.
yeah.
What made you want to get into show business?
I always liked writing a lot, like before anything.
The dog's in here. It's
Dude.
fine.
She's so cute. She's chill.
She's just chilling.
I don't know, man. Honestly, I always liked writing a lot, like creative writing, and like the whole formats and grammar and all that shit. I got down pretty easily versus like I was always like really good in English versus like science or math and it, like anything like that. So all of that kind of just came like very simple to me, like second nature. But like I just liked the ability to like create, and I always felt like as a child I was like always off in La La Land, and I enjoyed pretending to be people. And I feel like I never let that go. And so it kind of just, as I got older, I was like, what am I good at? Like, what am I going to do? Like, I'm like, first it started like, okay, I'm going to graduate high school. What am I going to do? And then when I was like 19, 20, I was like, okay, now you're actually like an adult, a young adult, but you're an adult. So like, what are you going to do? And luckily I had started doing like modeling gigs and stuff when I was like an older teenager. So that helped kind of like get me somewhat into like the smallest little light of what the hell that would all be. And eventually I started doing commercials, and then was like, okay, well, that's cool. Like, I eventually started booking commercials, and which was a process within itself. I don't consider that acting, but or not like real acting. I don't know. I just felt like I knew I liked writing, and I knew that I liked pretending to be people, and I liked the idea of like creating characters that don't really exist, but like you can kind of make it real, and as long as you can make it like believable, then I think, I respect that. And I always loved movies. Like, my dad was really big on movies. My parents were really young, so, or they had me really young. So, like, I was just always introduced to, like, a new film, like, as it would come out, like, even if I was young. So, like, I just was very intrigued by that. And I was like, okay, like, I definitely feel like that's something I would want to do. But it took me, like, a few years into, like, my young adult life to, like, really be like, okay, like, I want to do that. Like, that's something I think I can do. And, like, actually, hopefully one day make a living. So,
Well, you're a handsome guy. I mean, that's the first step, right? I mean,
well,
that's something that's
depending on
hard to
what you're going
control.
for. Well, I appreciate that. But
Well, I
I don't
mean,
know.
I mean, as like bad as it is, I mean, Hollywood is super superficial.
Which is kind of fucked. Yeah. I mean, it's right. Like,
It's
you're
show
right.
business. I mean,
It is.
they
Yeah.
want people to look good, and I mean,
Yeah.
like they don't have. There's some ugly people in Hollywood, but they bring something else more to the table than just looks.
Yeah.
Usually they're funny, or usually they're a great actor, or they
Yeah.
can portray certain people in certain ways, or they're the villain, or they have a huge scar on their face and they all look good as the villain, the scary
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
You know, that's the main thing. But I mean, that's something that some people can't control. I mean, without like surgery and stuff, like
Yeah.
major surgery. So that you already have the hardest thing is looking the part. And
The thing is, I feel like at that point, like, the thing is, there's so many good-looking people. Like, and I especially noticed this, like, when I moved out to LA. Like, there's a lot of good-looking people in the world. Like, which obviously, like, is a blessing, and like, you should never be like ungrateful or whatever. But I had like one acting teacher, not like in school, but like just like in my young adult life, who was like, there's a lot of people who are pretty, but like at the end of the day, like, they're just like, can you act? Period. And like, that's essentially what it is. And I definitely like, and there's people who are like, oh, anybody can act, and I believe that to a certain degree as well. When you're by yourself, like, anyone can like pretend to do anything when they're by themselves. But like, can you do that in a room full of grown ass people sitting on a table together, just staring at you? No emotion. Even if you're doing really fucking good, like, they're not gonna smile and be like, they're just gonna fucking stare at you, just as they're gonna stare at the guy who sucks and the guy who's okay. Like, you're just getting fucking stared at. And so that's a weird concept, like, ultimately, like, for an actor. It's just like the auditioning process. Like, can you do that in front of grown ass people showing no enthusiasm, feeling weird as fuck all in your head, and still execute it and like make it look believable? So I don't know. It's weird. Like, I wouldn't call that like essentially a talent. Like, I'm not saying people who are actors aren't talented, because like it is a talent to a degree. Like, once you're in that free realm and like, you really show that you can do that well. But I feel like that's the ultimate challenge. So like, can you do that in a room full of grown ass people who are just staring at you? It's fucking weird. It's a very weird process.
yeah, especially with those poker faces, because
Yeah.
you're like you just hit a line and you're like, oh, yeah, I think I did well, and they're just staring at you.
Yeah, and like, you're trying not to look at them, but you can fucking feel them just like mean mugging your ass, and like, you're just trying to like, like, if you're doing an audition, essentially you're engaged with another person, another character, and they're just reading it blank as fuck off of a piece of paper. So you're looking at someone that's not even fucking there,
Mm-hmm.
and you're trying to like be so fucking. It's just so it's a weird fucking thing at the end of the day, dude. But ultimately, once you book something, I feel like it's worth it because that's what you like to do. But I feel like the whole process of like the audition is like just challenging like everything that you thought you wanted to do, because like, there's nothing about it that's like enthusiastic. You're just like, I just want to book this fucking job. So
Do you have any like weird or crazy audition stories or things that happened that were like you didn't expect or that taught you something?
honestly, like, the majority of my auditions are just commercial stuff. I've had a few TV and film auditions. My very first in-person audition, actually, this is a whole nother topic, like, between self-tape auditions and like in-person live auditions. My very first audition for a movie was in person, and I think I was like 19 or 20, I don't know. But I had an audition for 2 different roles in a movie. And I got called back for both, and then I was put on hold for both for a few weeks. I was on hold. And when you're put on hold, that essentially means like it's between you and like 2 other people. So like you're in the top 3.
Mm-hmm.
And like, so it's a fucking waiting game. And if they call you back to read again, like they just want to see something else. Like, but essentially if you're put on hold, you should still feel lucky. Cause like that means like out of all the idiots that auditioned, like they're looking at you.
You're the best idiot, right?
You're one of the 3 best idiots that was able to make them think that I don't fucking know. But, so being on hold for that, for 2 different roles for a few weeks, I was like really stressed, really blah, blah, blah. And when I didn't get it, I remember like feeling bummed for a hot minute. Cause like that was my first time getting like a live audition. Like self-tapes are really big nowadays because of like technology and shit. Like nobody really wants, it's just time efficient if you don't have to go in for an audition. But honestly, being in person, I felt like is what got me on hold. Like I felt like such an urgency to like, okay, like these are the people I'm looking at. They're looking at me like they want me to do well. I want to do well. Like, let me just fucking do well. And I felt such a pressure that like, of like being in person, like I have to impress these people. I have to impress these people. And that was the best. That's like the closest I've ever gotten to being in a film or show. And eventually, if a few weeks goes by and you don't hear back, that just means you didn't get it. Usually when you're on hold, they'll tell you were released, which I think I was for one of them. But the other one, they just didn't respond. Or they didn't give me any feedback after. But no, dude, I definitely think I learned, like, for myself at least, I really like in-person, like, live auditions a lot better. Because I've had, like, numerous self-tape auditions. And a self-tape can go, like, one of a billion different ways. You could be either, like, in a really good mood, like, feeling yourself. Like, every fucking YouTuber and shit online, like, they just, like, look at themselves and they're like, oh, I looked good there. That's cool. Mm-hmm. Like, I really like the expressions I can read on people's faces. Like, I know, like, if I'm doing something different or, like, whatever, like, if I'm in an audition room, I can tell whether it's going bad or not. Whereas if I'm in my own living room, doing my best with what the fuck I have in my background, with my iPhone filming myself, I'm like, this is ass. Like, as good as I can feel doing it, I'm just like, oh, this is ass. This is ass. I feel like this is ass. Whereas some people love self-tape auditions because they feel like they can do it for hours and hours until they get the perfect take. Mm-hmm. I never feel like I have the perfect take if I'm doing a self-tape.
So you feel like the environment of a in-person audition like brings out your A game because Absolutely. You know it's like you only have one chance.
I just feel like it's all cards on the table. Like you either fucking do it or you don't. And like I thrive under pressure in weird scenarios. Whereas if it's like built up pressure, it gives me even more anxiety. But like once I was like in that room, I was like, oh. Ironically though, I ended up seeing that movie. I saw it in theaters. It came out like shortly after I'd moved to LA. And both of the roles I auditioned for were not in the movie. They were cut. So that fucked with my head even more. I was like, did they cut that movie like just because it didn't work? Or did they cut that scene from the movie because it didn't work? Or like, what, like, were none of us that good? Like, there's just like a lot of things that can run through your head. So that was like the weirdest thing. And like, ultimately, like, I don't really know what lesson I learned other than like, you just don't have any fucking control. But I learned for myself, like, I would much rather audition for like a person or people in person, like right then and there, than self-tape and then watch myself and then self-tape and watch myself. And then eventually don't know which one's the fucking right one to send in.
Because you're probably really critical of yourself, huh?
Well, I feel like everybody really, like, there's very few people who can like do it and like objectively watch themselves as just like an abstract character, and that is fucking mind-blowing. Like, I really want to be at that level one day, but I feel like you just either have that or you don't. But I feel like such few people have that ability, and that's hard, like, because everyone's just so self-aware.
What do you mean about looking at yourself objectively?
Like, or maybe subjective, right? like recording your audition, like you want to see the character that you're auditioning for.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to see you doing an audition. Like you don't want to see Austin or Brenden. Like if you're just like watching your fucking self over, like you're gonna overanalyze yourself,
Mm-hmm.
become like literally too self-aware of yourself. Like I just feel like most actors who do that, well, I feel like that's actually like a really big thing. A lot of actors don't enjoy, like just a lot of people, like even just don't like looking at themselves or hearing themselves even on film, which cracks me up. Because like nobody, like whatever, like you fuck with people, like if you're just with your friends, like recording videos and like people are like, oh my God, is that my voice?
Yeah.
Like nobody's like aware of like that's like actually like what they do. So like
Uh-huh.
you could be doing something really well and then you're over analyzing it, so you think you sound weird or you look weird or it's just coming across weird. Whereas to like the objective eye, it's probably looking just fine and that's probably what they're looking for. Or it might not be, but like I'd rather just do it in the present moment where I don't have to watch myself, I don't have to look at my fucking self.
Mm-hmm.
And like but like in the moment I felt like that was probably right and I'll take whatever notes they're giving me and I'll do that. And if that's what they're looking for, it's what they're looking for. But like if I have to sit there and watch my fucking self all day, I have the freedom to like watch myself. I'm probably gonna fuck it up just because I've overanalyzed it.
Yeah, you're thinking too much. You're like, oh, I didn't like how I said this.
Yeah.
And then you go in there and now you're thinking about how to say it the right way. But by thinking about that so much that it takes away from you just losing yourself and immersing yourself in that role.
Yeah. Like a director I know of who really doesn't ever let his actors watch themselves is that Ang Lee. Like he just doesn't, he said like literally almost verbatim, like they just become too aware, like trying to like critique every little thing and you can't do that. It's impossible. Because then you're out here thinking about what the hell you're doing instead of like just doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I watch myself, I definitely feel like that's what I do. I'm like trying to correct so many things that I have no fucking control over instead of just doing it.
Mm-hmm. That's why I like how my show is set up, because it's like, this is one take.
Yeah.
You know, like there's no, oh, let's do that again. I didn't like what I said there. It's like, nah, man, you said it. Like it's gonna be on the final cut. Like we don't cut anything out.
Yeah.
We don't bleep anything out. If you say it, you say it. And and you'd be surprised. I mean, I've had a lot of people on here who they perform, you know, some are professional fighters and, you know, they thrive under bright lights and thousands of people watching and, you know, being out there in basically their underwear fighting another person. And you'd be surprised they come in here and it's different. They put the headphones on and they hear their voice and they just, it's like they're very uncomfortable, you know.
There's something, dude, I agree. Like, and I mean, even though I've known you a while, like, there's something about just like knowing it's all being documented.
Mm-hmm.
You just feel like, oh fuck.
What do you think that is? Do you think it's like people just like worried about what people are going to think when they hear it? Or it's like you're worried about how you think you're going to look like?
Well, I think the first statement, I feel like depends on the person. I feel like some people they genuinely don't give a fuck what people think. Yeah. And then some people, I don't know, like it's very weird when you become self-aware. Luckily, like I've recorded myself numerous amounts of times to like where I know what I look and sound like objectively from like almost all angles, and I know what my voice sounds like. But I don't know, dude. It's just also this isn't an audition, so I'm not as stressed. Like not nearly as stressed. We're just kind of talking, shooting the shit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, dude. I feel like everyone just has their own little niche, but like it's so funny to me that almost every single person, when they like hear and see themselves, reacts like they all jump in some type of way.
Mm-hmm.
Like whether it's like happy, like they're like, oh fuck, I look really good.
Yeah.
Or like,
oh shit.
like I don't know, dude. It's just like people just react differently. It's a funny thing, but.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, some people aren't aware of how they actually sound.
Dude, I love that so much. Like, even with my girlfriend, every fucking day, like, she's like, that's my voice. I'm like, yeah, that's what she sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what she sounds like. But, yeah, dude, it's funny, man. Like,
it's like you got to record yourself a lot and hear your voice to start being like, oh, that's what it sounds like.
yeah.
You know, when I say something.
Yeah.
So you can't change your voice. I mean, you can, but it's tiring to do that all the time. So
Yeah, exactly.
you got to learn to love yourself. Everybody's different. Everybody's
Exactly.
unique. Everybody has their own voice.
Yes.
Everybody has their own look. You have to learn to love it. And if you can't, then this type of business isn't for you.
Literally.
There's like we said, actors are very critical of themselves, but there's also a level of self-love to be able to do something like that, because you have to be comfortable with yourself enough to be able to get in front of people and do an audition or perform a role or
Yeah.
send in an audition tape. You have to be a certain level of comfortable with yourself.
Yeah.
There's insecurities that come with everybody. There's things I'm sure people don't like, but people that are actors and people who perform like that, there has to be some level of self-love to even attempt something like that.
Yeah, man. Well, I would hope so for most people.
Yeah.
But like, dude, I don't know. A lot of actors are just fucking broken ass people.
What do you mean? They
Just
don't even know who
weird.
they are. They've played too many roles. They don't know who they really are.
I mean, I haven't worked enough to know that degree. I would assume something like that.
That's happened
something
before.
Similar to like a schizophrenic type of feeling, but for like really like up there actors. But I just feel like in general, like I don't know. Like I had this one acting teacher who said that, and like I didn't know what the fuck he meant at first. I was like, he's just being dramatic. But like, I feel like for people who like are really good at it, because like not every good actor gets known. Like there's a lot of people who are really talented who just go undiscovered. But like, what actors like a good actor at least essentially does? It's like it's kind of a weird feeling. You kind of just the ability to just like dive into something, like no matter what kind of fucking day you're having, and just jump into like whatever is needed for your character. I feel like is really weird. Especially like the more complex the character is. Like if you could do that, I feel like to some degree you're kind of like bit by bit just like shedding away all of like your real life emotion, and eventually that just becomes like your life. I would assume. Like even for like I've never had anything too serious to like do that. But like even the process of like lining my head up to like imagine what that would be like to do. Like that just sounds like, I'm sure you got to be a little bit broken to a certain degree, because like most people, like essentially what you're doing is like what only really children can do, and walk away like unemotionally harmed. Because like kids can really go and pretend and like they like thrive in like these imagination scenarios.
Yeah, like I'm a general, right? I'm a general in the army.
Like you're just
I'm a king.
the smallest thing,
Yeah.
like fucking just whatever the hell. You give them a little costume and they sit there running around acting like they're running shit. Like they believe like whatever the fuck they're. I don't like. It's essentially kids can ultimately really do that always. And like an adult, like navigating like the worlds of like the actual adult world. Like that's hard to do, man. I feel like eventually, like, especially like adult actors, like it kind of breaks you, especially if you're not successful for a while or ever, and you're kind of just doing it to like make your own living. Like I'm sure that fucking is weird, because everyone around you is like, "Oh, you're an actor? That's kind of fucking weird."
But like pretend to be somebody else.
Yeah. But then like if you're a famous actor, people are like, "Oh, whoa."
Did you take a picture of me?
Like,
yeah.
So it's weird, man. It's like, but I don't know. Like I definitely appreciate like the creative freedom that comes with acting, but at the same time, it's hard to like not realize like objectively to most people, it's pretty fucking weird. It's a weird thing. Like you're just pretending to be something, and like, but yeah, man. Like I think for struggling actors who do it for a while, whether they eventually break through something a little bit bigger or not, they eventually probably fucking break down, man. Like I was talking with family recently, and just asking me like what's your game plan? Like what's happening? Not like pressuring me, but just like the simple question. And it's just like, dude, right now I don't really have one. Like I enjoy writing, and like whenever creative ideas flow, they flow, and I like to write them out. And at the end of the day, as an actor, like there's not really much I can do at the moment. Like there's some stuff I can probably do better, but not like, I don't know. Like there's just so much that you have control over, and there's so much that you don't. And so it's it's a weird fucking feeling, man.
Yeah, like you have control over how you look and how you portray characters.
Yeah, but like I don't control what's coming in front
everything
of
else
me.
is not you. Everything else is like you can put yourself in positions to receive opportunities.
Yes.
But besides that, it's like,
The one thing
do these casting directors like you?
Yeah.
Do they like you for this role? Do they want to cast you?
The one thing I will say I can and every actor can do better is just try to make your own shit. Not like to post and like have all of it, like not doing it to like become like a Instagram famous person, but like make your own scenes. Like, have your own reel down is like the biggest fucking thing. And I wish people like really emphasized that more on me when I was younger. Like having an acting reel, like get someone who really knows how to fucking shoot. If you feel comfortable writing your own stuff, write your own stuff, shoot that. And if that looks like ass, do something else. Have someone else write your shit, whatever they think you could play well, and then shoot that. Like you just want essentially like an acting reel is just like a minute to a couple minutes long, showing like your highlight moments and like what you're doing good in, and it's like 10 to 30 seconds for like one scene alone, and it's just showing like so you, like knowing like a lot of like what you can play well and not play well factors into that. But I don't know, dude. There's a lot to be done, but there's also not a lot to be done at the same time. It's just such a weird fucking thing, dude. Like it's not, I can't compare it to any other fucking industry. Like
There's nothing like it.
There really isn't.
You touched on the childhood imagination.
Yes.
And I think that's really interesting because I think that's something that everybody has experienced at some point or another in their childhood is the ability to just have such a vivid and wild imagination. And the ability to basically immerse yourself in whatever fantasy that you want to.
Yeah.
And act that out and feel like you're there. Mm-hmm. Like I remember just playing as like a kid with like my little brother, and like it felt like we were really in Vietnam. You know, it felt like we were really there. You know, we had Nerf guns and everything, and we're like, oh my gosh, you know, take cover and everything like that. And it was like, dude, man. I felt like I was really there. And it's like, I think that to what you were saying, that actors have a piece, they held on to a piece of that, and that's why they're actors.
Yes.
You know, a lot of people lose that. A lot of people lose that ability to do that.
Most adults do, and that's why you're looked at as weird if you're an actor that's not successful. Like, it's because that is what you're tapping into, man. It's just like hang on to a piece of that. Like, can you still pretend and believe it to a certain degree and enjoy it? Like, or if you're not enjoying it, like if you can do it well, like, yeah, man, it's a fucking weird thing. But it's what's fucked up though is like a really pretty part of it is like there's a lot of really even elderly actors who like they love it still, and like there's nothing weird about them. Like they're still honed into that, and I think that's a really cool thing. I just think most adults, like I said, like navigating like adult life nowadays is fucking shitty, and so that's why I think like you're broken if you're navigating like your day-to-day problems, like your mental health. Am I gonna get rent this month? Like just day-to-day shit on top of people making fun of you for doing what you're doing, and then like you're still able to go and do that. That's fucking. It's a weird process, man.
Yeah, it definitely is. I think that everybody could still, you know, tap into that imaginative thing we were talking about, but it takes work. It's like you're in the gym doing that. You're literally working out when you're tapping into that thing
like
in your
everything.
brain. And if you hit 16 or 17 and you start, you know, becoming an adult and you start worrying about rent and stuff like that, and car payments and what you're gonna do with your career and your education, and
it becomes harder and harder to travel off into fucking fantasy land.
You become farther away from that, and if you don't practice that, then you will lose it, and then you end up being somebody who's like not fun. You end up
and
like,
if you keep it, there's something about you that appears a little off.
It appears off because people have stigmatized that because they think that it's normal to lose that. They think that it's normal to get rid of that childhood imagination, when in reality it makes you really special. Because I
feel like it just keeps your creativity intact.
Yeah.
Like I feel like we genuinely lose creativity as we get older. But I don't think that happens naturally. I think because of the world that we live in, like the stress that we undergo and like the things that we have to fucking deal with, like you don't have time to be creative. You don't have time to sit there and fantasize and be like, oh, I would love to do that. Let me fucking jot that down. Let me, like, what would happen in this scenario? Like, oh, let me just act that out really quick for myself and see how that would go down. Like, you can't fucking do that in an office.
Yeah, it's like, bro,
Like-
hey, get back to work. What are you doing?
It's like you schizophrenic fucking nut. Like, but that's my point. Like, you can't do those types of things in a normal day-to-day life. So you have to bottle all that shit up. And then if you feel like doing it when you get home, if you're not fucking depressed by that point, you go home and you do that. You act it out. You write it out. You do whatever the fuck. It's a fucking weird thing, man.
Must be tough for the mental health, especially if you have like an immense imagination, and,
Yeah,
and you're
dude.
being forced to sit in an office
Retain
and answer
all
the
of
phone.
that and like you just
Don't act that out. No, don't act weird. Don't be doing that stuff because you're gonna be out of here. You're making people feel uncomfortable because you're very weird. But in reality, they just makes them uncomfortable because they don't understand how your mind
Exactly.
works. And you shouldn't feel ashamed of that. You shouldn't feel ashamed that you have the ability to still
Yeah.
immerse yourself in the imagination. People get really, uncomfortable
yeah, man.
around people that, I think it's like people are jealous. I think really, if we're talking about, being able to tap into that childhood imagination and people are giving you shit about it or thinking that you're weird,
Yeah.
it might be they have a little envy. They have a little envy because they hate their shitty life. They hate that they don't have that ability anymore. They probably don't even make that connection that that's what it is.
Yeah.
And honestly, before this conversation, I never really thought too deeply on that the fact that it is just like the childhood imagination is what actors do.
Yeah.
I never connected that before. That's actually a really interesting concept. But no, yeah.
Yeah, man,
That's mind-boggling.
I didn't mean to like go that deep into it.
No,
Like, that's
dude,
just
I love this.
Yeah.
So like, what do you think about like actors like Leonardo DiCaprio, who's played so many roles, so many different roles, and it's like, who are you? Like,
Yeah.
who are you really? Like, are you still Leonardo DiCaprio, or like, do you have like were you Leonardo DiCaprio, and then every time you had a role that you immersed yourself in, you brought a
Yeah.
little piece of that into your personality? Do you think roles change people?
I don't know. I feel like I fucking hope not. Because at the end of the day, like, you kind of, like, at the end of the day, you really know, like, it's just another role. I actually tend to lean more towards, like I like actors who do, like, a hell of a fucking job. But I really like the ones who do, like, a hell of a job, but then they also are still just, like, themselves at the end of the day. And I don't know, like, I really like hearing stories about people like that. Because, like, there's so many people who take themselves too fucking seriously. Which, don't get me wrong, like, I really admire the best actors. And, like, I really would hope to be like some of them someday. But I could never see myself getting to the point where I'm like, who am I? Like, I fucking know I'm going home as Brenden. Like, getting in my same car, going home. I'll come back the next day and do the same shit again. So, like, I don't know. But I feel like there's people who take themselves way too fucking seriously for roles that it seems like they're doing the same role fucking over and over again. And then there's people who are kind of known as, like, more artistic actors, and they kind of do their shit, whether their head's fucking big or not. I just, whether they're, like, really artsy with it or not, I just like people who know that it ain't that fucking serious. Like, I'm always happy for anybody who gets a fucking role, because, like, it's always deservedly so. But, like, dude, for me, I don't know. I would never, like, want to be that douche on set who's like, no, like, you refer to me as my fucking character. Like, that sounds so fucking stupid.
No,
I
my
know
name is
I'm-
Abraham Lincoln.
Like, I know who I am. Like, if I'm like, I understand people's, like, processes are different. So, like, if you have to, like, go off in your corner and, like, do your own thing, like, to get in your own headset, and, like, you're just kind of, like, not talking to anybody, like, that's different. But, like, don't act like an asshole, and don't be like, ugh. Like, that type of shit I feel like is so fucking annoying.
Yeah,
I've never,
I can
like,
see
had to
that.
deal with anything that extreme, but, like, I just, even imagining what that's like, I just feel like it's like, dude, what? You ain't that important. I don't know, dude. Like, but I definitely appreciate good actors. My biggest thing is, like, I admire those who can do just as good of a fucking job, but then everyone on set, including like crew and shit, have nothing but good things to say about them. Like, yeah, they were good to work with. They were very easy to work with. They were polite. They were nice. Like, did you ever hear about Christian Bale's fucking freak out?
No.
I think it was like the Terminator set or some shit. I don't fucking know. It was something like early, like 2014, somewhere around there. And like some sound guy or like some light guy, it was like not fidgeting. He was like trying to adjust something, like in the middle of like when Christian Bale was like doing a scene, and he like freaked the fuck out, and it's all like recorded, it's online, and he was just like, "You fucking fuck," like he just like he was like, "Kick your fucking ass," like he just kept like lighting him up, and it's like, dude, if you're that much of an A-list actor, I'm sure you can do it again just fine.
Yeah. Like, it's not
like
that
it's
deep,
really
bro.
like this sound guy's getting paid like significantly less than you. Like it's probably not that fucking big of a deal. Just tell him, hey, that's really bothering me. Can you fucking not do that again? Like, but like he fucking went off on him, and I was just like, oh.
Never want to work with that guy. But let's take a little break. We'll be right back.
Yeah.
And we're back. So tell me about LA, brother. You moved out there.
I moved out there, man.
You pursued the dream.
I moved out there.
You made the move. You made the move. Tell me about it. I feel like it's a different world. I feel like everyone there is like, got to stick up their ass.
A little bit. Fortunately, like I made a very good group of friends when I moved out there. I moved out there with like just a few grand to spare. So I moved into this, I don't know what the fuck to call it, but the best thing I can compare it to, like it was a nice house. It was a really big, nice house. But like, I would compare it to like Greek life-ish if it was all just like artistic, aspiring people. So I lived in this big house with a bunch of young guys and girls, and the rent was really cheap. You kind of just all living together, hopefully collab together, and hang out and party together. Essentially, those people were really cool. I made like a tight clique of like about 8 people that I was like actually really close with, that I felt comfortable with, and all of them were doing different shit. I think like maybe one other person was like aspiring for acting, but it's everything from like young aspiring directors, set designers, lighting people, sound engineers, musicians, just different shit. But like we all just vibe together. I just feel like if you meet people soon enough in LA, you develop that relationship. But everyone I met that has been there for like at least a couple of years or so, they all have like a similarity. They're all completely different, but they all have a similarity in terms of like something's up their ass.
Mm-hmm.
Not like it's not as like simple as like, oh, like I don't know. It's a weird thing because there's no like logical breakdown for it, but something about being out there just seems like not even pretentious is the right word, like, but just everybody's out for themselves. It's like a very selfish atmosphere. And like even the people you want to call your friends, it's almost like out here, like I can come home and talk to my friends about my work and like what I want to do and like my goals, like, and it's a very supportive atmosphere. Whereas out there, whether you're doing bad or doing good, you don't really get that same, it's not like a genuine support. It's not like, it's very rare that you find that type of support out there. Even for people who aren't going for what you're going for, it's fucking weird. It's just like everyone is like out, like their ego big as fucking the sun. Like it's a weird fucking thing. And maybe that changes like once people actually start doing well and getting successful. But as far as like the underneath of it all, like the people who are all just out there trying to do something, it's really fucking sad, dude. Like I loved like Los Angeles itself. I loved the landscape. Like I loved everything about the atmosphere of like what it should be, but like the reality of it was like really fucking sad. I don't know. Like it's just like there's like an ugliness to it where people, you just feel people's savageness. Like you just feel like the lack of care, like of genuine care, like the lack of genuine human connection. And like people can talk about that and shit. Like I never paid any mind to that, but like when I was actually out there, I was like, oh, like, people really don't give a fuck about you out here. And like it's just true. Like there's a difference between like making friends and like making like a connection. And that is something I really had a hard time finding like the middle ground with. I don't really try to hate anybody. But like there's a lot of people out there that I'm just like, why? Like I'm being really nice to you right now. I'm being really kind to you. Like I'm wanting your attention, but like for what? And it's like, I don't know. It's a weird dynamic, but every fucking person seems to have it out there. It's just so ingenuine. It's so non-human. You feel like you're just disconnected.
So if somebody had that kind of personality here, what would you call them? An asshole, right?
That's not even the word, because like there's assholes everywhere.
Yeah.
But like they're all just like, it's like its own fucking thing, dude. I don't know how to describe it, especially as like a out there and aspiring actor, like as an aspiring person out there. It's just like just being a person out there. It's just like I'm trying to think of a fucking word, dude. It's just weird.
Is it like, are they pretentious?
That doesn't even fulfill it, because like that's part of it.
Is it like competition based? Is there like a lot?
It seems like that. It just seems like it's coming from such a savage point, like
disingenuine.
Yeah, especially like if you're like to really break it down to like a tripping level, and like you look at these people, not like, I don't know. It's just really fucked up, dude. Like a lot of people's mentality out there is really fucked up, and it just makes you feel like empty. And I don't think I was empty enough to like thrive or even survive in that type of thing. So luckily I had a good group of friends, but it's just like, I feel like it's probably easier if you have success out there, because then you know you're just like doing that for your business, and then you're going back home to your comfort and your whatever the fuck, your place of work, whatever the hell you do. But like just trying to be a person and then trying to make it and then trying to survive, like just all this shit, like it's fucking weird. You just don't feel like you're ever safe. Not like safety, like you're about to get fucking jumped, but like you just don't feel settled ever. Which if I didn't have like a good group of friends out there, I wouldn't have, like, which luckily I did. So I did feel some type of safeness. Like it's just a really uncomfortable feeling.
Maybe being successful in that environment isn't a good thing either. Because
I mean, it's probably not ideal.
Because like you were saying, everyone there is disingenuous. So yeah, they might be nice to you when you're successful, but that's only for their own self-interest, because they feel like if they know you and they're nice to you, they might get an opportunity or something.
Well, the fucked up thing is everyone's playing the same. When you're not successful, everyone's playing the same card. Because I've met people that are successful out there, and there's something that seems a lot more grounded within them. But when you're not successful, which is most people, it's like you're being nice for show, because you know just as well as that person that you're being nice to knows that you both haven't made it yet. But if they do make it one day, you don't want to be on their fucking bad side or something like that. Mm-hmm. Or you want to be able to get the call later. Like, it's just so, like, non-human. It's like, I don't like the whole, like, looking at people as if they're, like, a fucking creature.
An opportunity, right?
Like, yeah, like, it's just, like, something like, oh, like, we can grab a hold of that later. Like, hi, I'm a person. You can, like, I get so fucking uncomfortable in that shit. Like, it's just weird, man. Which is ironic, because I want to fucking act in movies and shows, but that's kind of what it is, dude. What's so fucked up is like that's how people act when they're not even in the fucking business yet. Just a bunch of people who like are also struggling, whether they've done work in the past or not. Like they're just there's something just so savage about it. Not savage, and like nobody's willing to fucking throw hands out there. Like no one's willing to fight, but like it's just like such a like a. It's fucking weird, dude. Like you can just feel like it's like little leeches and shit. Like I don't know how to describe it, but it's like really not a comfortable feeling to be around, and it doesn't give you any shot of like it doesn't give you any feeling of support. It doesn't give you any feeling of like, oh, I have people rooting for me. Like I'm rooting for that. Like even if you do fucking show up with your best effort and you're trying to root for other people, like a lot of people just genuinely don't give a fuck about you unless if you're essentially going to be something that's good for them in the long run. It's weird, man. It's like the most inhumane thing.
There's people like that here. It's the weirdest thing, dude. And I don't like. There's people who think they're the shit because they have a certain amount of followers on Instagram.
That fucking baffles me, dude.
And it's like, dude, like you're not the shit. Like
that.
Like why do you think this way?
That baffles
There's been
me,
people
bro.
I've asked to come on the show and they just don't. Like they just won't respond, and I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna ask you again. So it's like I'm not. Don't hit me up in a couple years, like because it's like I'm not gonna. You can't come on the show. Like if you didn't believe in this vision when I was grinding like I am now.
Yeah.
Don't hit me up when I'm established.
Yeah, man. It's just. I definitely think, objectively nowadays, there's a lot more people thinking about themselves because of social media.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't agree with necessarily.
Social media or people looking out for their own self-interest more than other people's?
Well, I think a lot of that comes from social media.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so much more ways to look at yourself and like pride yourself on shit that's like so temporary. Like it's, I don't know, but fucking that, dude. There's so many fucking big heads in the world, bro.
Especially
Nowadays.
now.
That's what I'm saying. Like
With
now,
social
like,
media, it's like it's amplified.
It's just, yeah, man. It's for the longest time I hated social media. Like I don't mind it now, but like I find myself getting like stuck on it now, and I'm just like, why am I scrolling? Like I've already seen like 3 of these posts already. Like why am I like going back and looking? Like I have other things to do. Like why am I not doing those things? Like why am I just sitting on my fucking phone?
It's weird how it's made, right? To like it's engineered to make you want to stay on it.
Yeah,
it
dude.
shows you stuff that it knows you're interested in, and it shows you stuff that it knows that it's gonna get a rise out of you to make you want to keep reading it and get like almost.
That's one thing I never do though. I've never found myself, maybe like when I was younger, but like in recent times, since like it's become like a trend, I've never found myself getting upset over social media, dude.
Good.
I don't get how people fucking do that.
It's make believe. It's
Dude,
made up.
I get like real scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it's something like you're passionate about and it's like something that's happened to you and you see it online and you're like, and you have a little thing to say, go ahead and say it. Fuck it. It's there for a reason. There's the fucking problem is there's so many people getting mad about things that like don't even involve them. And it's like they're just looking for something to get upset about, I feel like.
There's so many people that think their opinion matters.
I think everyone's opinion matters, but to what degree?
The smallest one.
Because there's so many fucking people.
Yeah, it's like honestly, everybody has an opinion.
But
It's like what makes people think that their opinion is important. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And social media has added that
Like
to people's ego that they think, since I have 1,000 followers, I can show this, I can give my opinion out to the world. That automatically means it's important. When in reality, nobody really cares.
Yeah.
You know, but the illusion is there that people do care because of the followers and because of the likes.
I agree with that a lot. It's just, dude, there's just so fucking much to that.
Yeah, it's too much.
Right.
But the road that this is leading down is probably not good, because this is affecting us not only on the level of discovering that people are assholes or social media bringing out who a person really is.
Yeah.
But the fact that people feel like they can say whatever they want to people because they're on the internet. And,
100%.
And that creates a problem that is almost at an evolutionary level, because for most of history, we're running around in tribes. If you say something to the alpha, you guys are going to fight in front of everybody, or someone's going to hit you with a rock while you're sleeping.
Yeah.
Now it's like you can say whatever you want and hide behind a screen, and you never have to face objective reality or that physical confrontation.
I agree.
So it gives people a false confidence, and then they think that that's how it is, and they go into the real world and try to say something like that to, with Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather.
Dude,
he thought it was sweet, and he's like, got your hat, and then Floyd Mayweather, made him bleed. I mean, that's as real as it gets. I mean, there's consequences for your actions, and social media has made people think
I don't think that there's anything wrong with some of the new things that are said. So I think everything can evolve. But I agree with you 100% on the fact that, it's being done behind a screen alters everything. It makes it, again, inhumane. It's not there's no real reaction. There's no real action. They're not really hearing what the fuck you're saying if you're bitching at it from your keyboard. They're just saying, oh, this person's being an asshole. They're being a little bitch. Whatever the hell they're going to call it. There's just a way to communicate, and that's not via text or it's face to face. And I feel like what's really meant to come out will come out in person. And if it doesn't come out, it probably wasn't fucking meant to come out. So if you have to do it behind your fucking pad, then you probably weren't meant to fucking say that. To some degree.
Yeah, I think people shouldn't say stuff on the internet that they wouldn't say to somebody in person.
Yeah, I just feel like if it's that important, don't type something with so much anger that you're ready to fight without being ready to fight.
Yeah.
Say it with the passion that you have, and it will most likely be, especially nowadays, because people still fight, but most people know nowadays you're not going to get very far other than just proving I can still kick your ass, which in some cases is needed.
Yes.
I agree 100% with that. But if it's just an argument that you really feel strongly about, then fucking say it in person as passionately as you're saying. They're probably not going to fucking hit you over it. So don't be scared that they're going to fucking hit you over it. Just say what you fucking feel. That's my thing. There's just so many people that just say what you fucking feel, dude. And if you get hit over it, either fight back or fucking sue them. Those are the two fucking options we got these days.
Learn how to fight. If you're going to be an asshole and talk shit, you better know how to fight.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Don't talk like an asshole if you can't fight. Yeah, if you're going to say something passionately, say that. But don't say something in such an antagonizing way.
Yeah, you're not gonna be able to that's what a lot of people do. Trolls. That's what people make a living off of. That is antagonizing people and causing controversy.
Yeah, dude. It just reminds me so much of high school shit, because we grew up in the era of when Twitter was peaking when we were in high school. And it's just it reminds me a lot. I'm probably very guilty of stupid shit over Twitter, but my point is that was the era. Also being in high school is different. I'm hoping people in high school now learn from what trolling was back then. I'm hoping they learn from our stupid fucking mistakes. Just fucking, if you got a real issue, fucking talk about it. Don't go fucking bitch about it on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And often, more often than not, dude, most things don't need to be fought over. Always be ready to fight if you have to fight, just objectively, because people are human. I think everyone should be able to fight if they have to fight. But 9 times out of 10, you don't have to fight. Just if it's that fucking important, have a really strong fucking perspective. And if you're not that intellectually inclined to give your perception, you're not ready for that fucking conversation yet.
Yeah, don't say anything.
Yeah,
And Twitter was wild when we were in high school too.
Oh, dude, so fucking stupid.
I remember there was a 407 exposed page.
Oh, for Orlando? Yeah,
yeah.
Dude.
And dude, I remember someone posted one of my wiener pics on there when we were in high school. And dude,
that's less than ideal, man.
And dude, I retweeted it.
You know, like child porn. We were like 16. Bro.
I know, but
It's
I
not
was,
cool.
I know, man, it was fucked. But I retweeted it, and I got a lot of followers, a lot of chicks. It was funny.
Jesus Christ, bro.
Oh, dude, high school was wild, man. I remember I used to be famous on like Ask FM. You remember that? People would ask you anonymous questions, and you would just answer them.
I remember that site, dude.
Oh, dude,
To
I
a
was
certain
like,
degree.
that was like my first like taste of like fame, bro. I would get like 50,000 likes on my like, on like my answers and everything. It was fun. It'd be like, oh, who do you think are the 3 hottest girls in class of 2017? And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, this one, and this one, and it's like, it was such a weird thing because it was like because back when we were in high school, like you felt like that was important, like how you were perceived on social media. And like now that I've gotten older, the only reason I have social media is because of the show.
Literally,
Because it's necessary when you're building a business, especially something that I have that's online. I have to have it. But if it wasn't for this, dude, I probably wouldn't have any social media.
If this wasn't like the thing I was going for either, like, yeah, dude, I have no fucking interest. And like I express that like a lot, like on my private account and shit. Like I don't. To me, it's like the idea originally for social media was like keep up with the people that you care about.
Yeah.
Like making sure you don't lose contact. You're seeing what's going on in their lives. I really like that concept. Like that was like originally like what Facebook developed into. Obviously, that's not what it started as, but like I liked that concept. But now it's just like, bro, I'm seeing so many fucking dude. The thing that's annoying me a lot is like I'm seeing people like post like workout videos, like the full length video, but they're like compressing the time, so it's just like really fast movements. I've been like, I'm like, bro, I can't even fucking follow what you're doing because every minute's moving by like every 1 second.
Yeah,
Like-
if you're posting workout stuff and people are watching it because they want to see what you're doing to like work out. They're not trying to see you just work out. They're trying to see how you work out.
Dude, it's just become so
It's like I don't give a fuck that you're benching, bro.
everything's
I don't care.
so selfish now, man.
I don't care about this stuff. You're putting this on there because you just want to see people. You just want people to see you work out. You don't
Literally.
want to teach people how to work out.
You want to
don't-
be seen
yeah.
working out.
And that's the whole thing.
That's
It's
what I don't like
selfishness.
about or about just dude. Social media is so selfish. Like it's become so fucking selfish, man. Like, and I don't know. And the thing is, we're all guilty of it. I'm not saying I'm not. Like anytime, like you can't help but to like check what your stats are. Like whenever you post something, like you're like, I did post something today, and you go back and check it. Even if it's like once or twice a day, like you check. You like the whole checking it is like, why am I checking it?
Mm-hmm.
Whoever wants to see that can see it. And like we all know, like that's what we want to believe, but like once we post, there's like it's like a whole other drug. It's like a whole other fucking thing. Like we're like really curious. We're keeping up with that. We're like, okay, I know they saw it. I know they saw it. It's fucked, dude. I don't like what it's done. Like, I mean, it kind of did start that way, even with Facebook, because like Facebook was like the main thing when social media started with us. We were in like middle school, I think, like 2012, 2011, 2010. Like people still cared about like their likes back then, and it's like, especially like at our age, like we were like literally middle school age. What is that? 11, 12? So let's call it an average of 12. Like, why in the fuck is that even a concern? Like that shouldn't be a concern at all. And someone that young, or for anybody for that matter, but like especially that young, that's so fucked. Like,
well, status was always an important thing within humans.
it is, but the degree that it's at, like, because before, like being popular in the 80s was not what it was being popular in the 2000s, late 2000s, 2010, 2011 era. Like it's different because MySpace came around, Facebook came around, like all that shit. Like because you're always able to access like refresh, and you're just like looking like, okay, how many people? Whereas like if you were popular when you were young, or if you were popular in 90s, 80s, you were just either the shit and you believed it or not. Like none of that should matter, period. Like especially high school fucking level, or just being under 18 level. Like none of that should fucking matter, period. But like difference is like back then, like I think that there's something psychological that's going on now, like where it doesn't even matter, like the grade, the like, am I like influencer level? Like, am I high enough? Like, ultimately, like it seems like it really is coming down to like follow, like the amount of followers, like the follow status level, and that's so fucking unhealthy in my opinion. Like that seems so fucked.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think status is always like an important thing. It always really has been a part of human history because, you know, you put a group of people together, they're going to figure out who the alpha is. That's just human nature. You know, people are going to test each other. They're going to see who the real alpha is, and it always shows. It's just natural. And that's natural, and that's okay. But now we're at a level, like you said, where it's instant. And it's not only instant, but it's the whole world. It's not just the people that live in your village. It's everybody, you know. So now there's
everyone competing for the ultimate alpha, and that
everybody.
sounds like the fucking dumbest thing I've ever heard of.
You're just a rat in a maze, but there's no ultimate alpha. There
never will be.
There's no alpha of the planet. You know, you're alpha in your own communities and your own circles.
But that's what's sad to me is like I feel like there's a lot of people searching for like these like. The thing is also the idea of fame has shifted so much because you can be famous with like 1 million followers, and like you're really fucking satisfied. You're like, fuck yeah, because that is like 1 million people fucking looking at you. That's a lot of fucking people, dude.
Mm-hmm. 1 million people manually clicked with their finger to follow you.
Exactly.
You know, it's 1 million people.
Versus back in the day before social media, if you were famous, people knew you because you were one of the very few famous people.
You were in a movie or something, or you were on TV, or you made music.
Not even just entertainment, just you were objectively known by the mass.
Yeah.
Or the masses. So it's just, I hope that's not people's goal.
Mm-hmm.
Which, as fucked up as it is, it probably is people's main goal. Like, you shouldn't want to just be known by a bunch of fucking people. Like, to me, that just, like, if that's your goal, like, you better have something really fucking important to say at the end of the day.
Yeah, like, what was all this for?
Literally, like,
it's the ego thing. People want to feel important.
Is the fucking ego.
So they'll do whatever it takes to make sure that number goes up, the number of followers goes up.
There's so many more famous people alive today than there's ever been. But, like, what are they famous for? I couldn't tell you fucking a quarter of them. Like, because even that fucking little blue check mark that you get does it. Like, it's like, I don't know. Like, if your idea is fame, I hope you get what you're fucking looking for. Like, do something. Like, want a deeper purpose. And if you get famous from that, that's so much more respectful, in my opinion. Like, I don't know.
It's just like music. Music used to be, if you sold an album, somebody went to the store and bought it. You know, It was organic. Somebody loved your music and they went out and bought it. Now it's streams.
Yeah.
Now you get put on a like a hip hop shuffle channel.
Yes.
And when they hit next and it goes to your song, you get a stream.
Yeah.
They didn't go out. They didn't hear your song on the radio and go out and buy your album. It's just it's much less organic now. Like you said, people that were famous in the 80s, they were organically famous.
Exactly.
Now it's like,
especially even before that. They were really organically famous.
If you were famous, you were actually famous. Like, people loved you and everything.
And it was a lot more world known than just central.
That was back when people would like cry if you spoke in public or something because they were so enthralled by your presence.
I'm not gonna lie, it was a little unhealthy.
That's actually really fucking unhealthy. Wild. I mean, but like we saw that with like Justin Bieber when he blew up.
I mean, crying over like an emotional statement is fine. When you said crying, it reminded me of like something like that would happen in like a different country.
An
overrun country.
Yeah, an over theatrical woman would be like crying over like meeting like a famous guy or something, and I'm like, oh, it's not that serious. You don't gotta cry.
Well, even that's like, I'd rather that than I meant like crying over like if somebody like a world leader stands up and speaks and like the people of like their country is like crying over them.
Oh yeah.
That to me is like fucking extreme.
That's usually
I get people who are like, I don't get it, but like. That's actually really, that's another weird thing to read too. Like, people who like cry over like famous people, because of the fact that they're like famous, quote unquote. Like it's like, and like I appreciate the fuck out of them and envy their work, but like, I mean,
Yeah.
they're a
I'm not
person
about to
too.
yeah, they're exactly. They're a person. They're just another human being. They're just on a different stage.
Yeah.
And it's so weird how people think that like, you know, famous actors and like really famous people are
That's
like
one
they're like not human, like they're different, like they're somehow
Yes.
different than you. When in reality they go home, they have their same problems. They shit on the
Yes.
toilet. You know, they do
I
everything.
appreciate people who have extraordinary talents, but that's a whole different thing. Like, I like anybody who has a talent. If I appreciate someone for their talent, whether I discover them because they're famous or not, like, a talent's a talent. Like, my thing is, like, there's no human being on this planet that is really more significant than another. To an extent. Like, I think there's people who do really cool shit that I'm, like, give a lot more attention to. But, like, I think we're all just fucking doing our thing out here, man. At the end of the day, we're just kind of trying to figure it out. Like, I don't know. That's my take on that. But, I mean, there's some really fucking cool people. But
Yeah, you got to be cool about it though. You can't be like thinking that somebody just because they're famous or like a different person, they're like different than you. Like, you know, like that's how it was when I was doing VIP tours at Disney.
yeah.
You know, I would meet celebrities, I would meet people that were famous, but you know, I would treat them like everybody else. You know that, and they appreciate that because they're not used to it.
Yeah.
They're not used to it. They're used to, oh my gosh, can I get a picture? You're that guy from that one movie. Oh my god, you play on this team.
Yeah.
And I would be just, I'm like, oh, what do you do for a living again?
Yeah.
You go, I'm quarterback in the NFL. Like, oh, cool. You want to go to the bathroom or something? Like, what's up? And it's like it would always be like that. I would never treat them any differently. You know, I would treat them special because they are special. They're one of my clients. But it was never like I'm putting them on like a pedestal. I'm never like gonna, you know, treat them like they're some kind of royalty or that they're divine in any way. Like they're just a normal person. Like treat them like that. And that's what I don't get is like sometimes people will see celebrities outside and they'll freak out. Oh my God, can I get a picture? And that's when celebrities will like say no and get a bad rap for being like a dick to their fans. In reality, they're just tired of it, dude. They're just trying to eat at a Denny's and you're trying to run up on them with a camera phone. And it's like, dude, like no, like if you do it organically, like, you know, it's gonna be no problem. They're just like people, like, you know, everybody's different.
Yeah.
But we're like 90% the same. Like we do the same stuff.
Well, ultimately, I feel like most humans are organized or just, I don't know. It's, for lack of better words, we're mostly the same, dude.
Yeah, we mostly do the same stuff. We all have to do something to provide for ourselves and our family. We all need shelter. We all need water. We all go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
We all like food. We all like good food. You know, and that's it. And it's like people want to act like just because somebody is, you know, in a position where a lot of people see their face, that means they're automatically different. When in reality,
it's fucking, dude.
That's what I remember. Whenever I would meet like somebody who was like famous or somebody that I knew, sometimes you might get nervous, you know. But then I remember, I'm like, oh yeah, they take shits. You know, they fart. You know, it's like, dude, like these people aren't the shit. Like they're just like me. Like they're not.
But that's the thing that everyone should, like, as much as it might be like a controversial thing to say this, especially because I'm not like anybody yet or ever, like they probably want the same fucking thing. Like they probably would feel very comfortable just being like normal. Thing is, like, I feel like when you first become famous, there's some excitement that's got to be there.
Yeah.
I would assume.
Yeah.
Like, oh, like people actually want to take me a picture.
Mm-hmm.
Like just shit like that. But like, I'm sure it gets pretty old really fucking quick. And like at the end of the day, they're all probably just wanting to do their own thing.
Yeah, I'm just trying to shop. Like what the hell?
Like there's getting thanked for your work. And I'm sure like whether it's ego based or like themselves, they're probably appreciative of it. But like there's probably a much larger chunk of them that's like, I kind of just want to do my thing. Like, I see so many paparazzi videos and I'm like, I would fucking hate that.
I would hate that.
I would hate that. Like,
and it's like I used to hate paparazzi, but it's like they're just doing a job.
They are, but it's like, bro.
Like, get off of my house, 4 a.m., bro. I'm taking a piss. Like, why are you out here with a camera? Why are you trying to ask me questions about it?
The one thing I'll always understand, like I will 100% always understand, is like, if you're a celebrity with a kid and they start taking pictures,
Yeah.
like, dude.
Yeah, I'd smash somebody's camera for that. Yeah.
I don't want to say that out loud, but
Oh, dude, I'll do it. Dude, one
I'd
day,
I'd probably fucking hit somebody.
bro, you know me, dog. You know me, dude. If I ever get to a level of stardom like that, dude, we don't play that shit over here. You know what I'm saying? Someone put that camera on my face, you might not get it back.
It's just, again, like you're right. Like I definitely get like that's their job. It's just, dude. I don't know. Like there's boundaries, bro. Like, and again, it is kind of what you sign up for. It's not like
yeah, that's what comes with
you're
it.
literally like even overnight successful people are handed paperwork explaining to them the rules and laws of paparazzi and whatnot. So you know what you're dealing with. So you either sign up for it or you don't. But at the same time, I feel like paparazzi probably fucking suck.
There's some people though that are like worldwide known, and paparazzi doesn't attack them because they're not like very recognizable, like Tony Hawk. You know, Tony Hawk's a legend.
Yeah.
Like literally a legend in skateboarding. But bro, if I saw him out, I probably wouldn't recognize him. You know, that's one of those things you sign up for. Music is the same way. I mean, if all these rappers didn't have chains and jewelry and very flashy and loud and ugly ass outfits, then I wouldn't be able to recognize these people. I wouldn't even be able to know like who you were if there wasn't a bunch of people with you that it was basically telling me like, oh, this guy is like important or famous or whatever. Yeah. I wouldn't know. It's only like really if your face is out there that people want to take pictures of you.
The thing is, that's what like I feel like I appreciate the fact that like people, again, like what I said before, if people like really appreciate your work and like they're grateful for like the work that you've done and they just happen to see you and come across you like immediately type of thing and want a picture, that I feel. And I feel like you'd probably feel really grateful and respected and respectful. But like the fucking people who just like sit there lurking you, like waiting for you, that's so fucking weird, dude.
Yeah.
That's so fucking weird
like,
to me.
Oh, he goes to this coffee shop. I'm going to just camp out here and wait till he gets here. Then I'm going to pop out and ask for a picture.
Dude, like, that's, I don't know. Luckily, dude, a part of me is really happy because I haven't had to deal with that. Like, I've never done anything nearly as successful as to do anything to deal with that. But, like, that just seems like a lot of stress, man. Like, I don't know. That seems fucked.
It does.
It seems pretty fucked.
That's part of the fame. That's part of the being famous that people who will like. Everything else is fun, but, you know, once you're famous, it's...
I don't even know if that's true.
We don't know. Neither of us are famous. So
exactly.
I guess we'll find out when it happens. But I feel like we're both pretty genuine, so it'll be fine. We'll be able to take it with ease.
Yeah.
But what's your Instagram? What's your
my
socials?
Instagram is just at Brenden Carrillo. It's my name, BRENDEN, and then my last name, no spaces or gaps or anything like that. CARRILLO.
All right. Do you have anybody you want to say thank you to? Anybody that's helped you out or supported you recently? I mean,
dude, I've just been trying to get through life lately, man.
I hear that, brother.
I'd like to thank you, Austin, for having me on your show.
No problem, man.
I thank my girlfriend, thank my mom, thank my family, you know, for giving birth to me. Not my girlfriend, obviously, but... But, yeah.
All right, brother. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Pleasure talking to you as well, brother.
I wish you the best of luck with all of the ventures you have coming soon, and I believe in you. And
Thank you.
I'm happy
bro.
you gave us the time to come on here and talk to us.
Absolutely, brother.
All right, man. Let's rock and roll.
Right on, brother.
Let's wrap it up.
Peace.
Peace.